ဘာသာတရားတွေဟာဦးဇင်းတို့အားလုံးလေ့လာရတဲ့အခါမှာငြိမ်းချမ်းရေးကိုဥဆောင်ကြတာပဲ
တယောက်နဲ့တယောက်ဘာသာတစ်ခုနဲ့တစ်ခုလူမျိုးတစ်မျိုးနဲ့တစ်မျိုးကြည့်တဲ့အခါမှာငြိမ်းချမ်းဖို့အတွက်အစနည်းနည်း
A. University, Reverend Bishop Thara Petharu, you too can die if you are shy. You are acting very politely without shame. Tertullian's apology. Wild beasts pierce us. Are their feet trample on us, while our hands are stretched out to God. Let crosses suspend us, let fires consume us. Let swords pierce our breasts. A praying Christian is in a frame for enduring anything. How is this, ye generous rulers? Will ye kill the good subjects who supplicate God for the emperor? Were we disposed to return evil for evil, it were easy for us to avenge the injurios which we sustain. But God forbid that his people should vindicate themselves by human force, or be reluctant to endure that by which their sincerity is evinced. Were we disposed to act the part, not say of secret assassins, but of open enemies, should forces and numbers? It is true we are but of yesterday, and yet we have filled all your towns, cities, islands, castles, boroughs, councils, camps, courts, palaces, senate, forum. We leave you only your we want ples. For what war should we not be ready and well prepared, even though unequal in numbers? We, who die with so much pleasure, were it not that our religion requires us rather to suffer death than to tit. If we were to make a general secession from your domi inflict you would be astonished at your solitude. We are dead to all ideas of worldly honor and dignity. Nothing is more foreign to than political concerns. The whole world is our republic. 137 I will beld you vile dead to worldly honor and she political concerns. We are a body united in one bond of religion, discipline, and hope. We meet in our assemblies for prayer. We are compelled to have recourse to the divine oracles for caution and recollection on all occasions. We nourish our faith by the word of God. We erect our hope, we fix our confidence, we strengthen our discipline, by repeatedly inculcating precepts, exhortations, corrections, and by excommunication when it is needful. This last, as being the sight of one and is a serious warning of the future judgment. If any one behave in so scandalous a manner as to be debarred from Holy Communion, those show preside among us, are elderly persons, not distinguished for opta tense, but worthiness of character. Every one pays something into the public chest once a month, or when he cleanses, and according to his ability and inclination, for there is no compulsion. These gifts are, as it were, the deposit of piety. Hence warily and bury the needy, support orphans and decrepit persons, those who have suffered wreck, and those who, for the word of God, are condemned to the mines or imprisonment. This very charity of ours has caused us to be noticed by some. See, say they, how these Christians love one another. But we Christians look upon ourselves as one body, informed as it were by one soul, and, being thus incorporated by love, we can never dispute what we are to bestow upon our own members. And is it any, I cannot but think that this language of Tertullian is much too strong, and that the reader who would not be misled should receive it with some degree of qualification. There can be no doubt that the profession of Christianity had spread extensively at the commencement of the 3rd century. But paganism was still the religion of the empire, and if any reliance can be placed upon Guy Bon's calculation as it respects this matter, not more than a 20th part of the subjects of the Roman Empire had enlisted themselves under the banners of the cross before the conversion of Constantine. 12 Christians dead to political concerns. The Catholic Church torture devices used to combat heresy during the 12th–15th century. Heretic's fork consisted of a piece of metal with a bi-pronged fork on each end, held in place by a leather bait or strap placed between the breastbone and chin. The wearer was put in a position which they could not lay down. People could not fall asleep. The moment their heads dropped with fatigue, the prongs pierced the throat and chest, causing great part. This caused sleep deprivation. Wearers were awake for days, making confession more likely. Above. A man wearing the heretics fork. Evil from religious beliefs. Inflict.com. Evil from religious beliefs. 138 History of the Christian Church. Frugal suppers, and reflect upon our little frugal suppers. Not only as infamously great wonder, that such charitable brethren as enjoy all things in common, should have such frequent love feasts. For this it is you traduce wicked, but as scandalously excessive. The nature of this supper you may understand by its name, for it is the Greek word for love. We Christians think we can never be too expensive, because we consider all to be gain that is laid out in doing good. When therefore we are at the charge of an entertainment, it is to refresh the bowels of the needy. We feed the hungry, because we know God takes a peculiar delight in seeing us do it. If, therefore, we least only with such brave and excellent designs, I leave you from thence to guess at the rest of our discipline in matters of pure religion. Nothing earthly, nothing unclean, has ever admittance here. Our souls ascend in prayer to God. Before we sit down to meat, we eat only what suffices nature, and drink no more than is strictly becoming chaste and regular persons. We sup as servants that know we must wake in the night to the service of our Master, and discourse as those who remember that they are in the hearing of God. When supper is ended, every one is invited forth to sing praises to God, and by this you may judge of the measure of drinking at a Christian feast. As we begin, so we conclude all with prayer, and depart with the same tenor of temperance and modesty we came, as men who have not so properly been drinking, as imbibing religion. There is something noble in the following appeal, with which Tertullian closes his apology. And now, O worshipful judges, proceed with your show of justice, and believe me, you will be still more and more just in the opinion of the people. The oftener you make them a sacrifice of Christians, crucially, torture, condemn, grind us all to powder if you can. Your injustice is an illustrious proof of our innocence. And for the proof of this it is that God permits us to suffer, and by your late condemnation of a Christian woman to the lust of a pander, rather than the rage of a lion. You notoriously confess that such a pollution is more abhorred by a Christian, than all the torments and deaths you can heap upon her. But do your worst, and rack your inventions for tortures for Christians. 'Tis all to no purpose, you do but attract the notice of the world, and make it fall the more in love with our religion. The more you mow us down, the thicker we spring up. The Christian blood you spill is like the seed you sow, it springs from the earth again and fructifies the more. That which you reproach in us as stubbornness has been the most instructive mistress in proselyting the world, for who has not been struck with the sight of what you call stubbornness, and from thence prompted to look into the reality and grounds of it, and whoever looked well into our religion that did not embrace it, and whoever embraced it, on proper grounds that was not ready to die for it? For this reason it is that we thank you for condemning us. Because there is such a happy variance and disagreement between the divine and human judgment, that when you condemn us upon earth, God absolves us in heaven. Minucius Felix was contemporary with Tertullian, and rather bereaves Apologies, Volume I, page 302 to 339.